Welcome to Jeff's Changes for Life. Today we're going to dive into love and why are my relationships such a disaster. As always, before we get started, this program in no way, shape, or form is a substitute for anybody that requires professional, medical, or psychological attention or treatment. Let's be real for a second. You ever find yourself saying, why do my relationships always end up in pain? Why can't I find someone who actually loves me back? It's like you give your heart, your time, your energy, and it still ends up broken. I've been there. I've asked myself, is it them or is it me? And the truth is, it's more complicated than that. So why would this process go so wrong? Well, the first thing is we choose from our wounds. We don't always fall for who's good for us. We fall for what feels familiar. And if chaos, inconsistency, or emotional unavailability feels familiar, we repeat it. Not because we want to suffer, but because we're still trying to fix a version of love we never got right in the first place. The second thing is that we want wholeness from a person instead of from within. And here's the tough truth. No one can love you into feeling whole. That part's on you. When you expect someone else to fill the void, you're setting both of you up to fail. And the third area is that we confuse intensity with connection. Fireworks, passion, drama feels like love, right? But real love is steady, it's safe, it's boring sometimes. And if we're addicted to the chaos, we might walk right past the person who could have loved us for life. How do we start to look at this within ourselves? So let me say something that might sound harsh at first. Sometimes we say we want to love, but we're actually scared of intimacy, scared to really let someone in, scared they'll see the mess behind the smile and leave. So we self-sabotage before they can get too close. We ghost, we push, we pick fights. We chase people who won't commit because deep down, part of us believes we don't deserve love that stays. It also gives us the opportunity to stay safe, not overtly, we don't say that, but when it doesn't work, then we simply qualify by saying, see, I told you it wasn't going to work. Love is not for me. So this brings us to the patterns that I've talked about many, many times. It's easy to blame the last person or the one before them, but until we understand the pattern, we're just changing faces, not outcomes. Raise your hand if you know anybody that blames everything on the last partner they had or the one before that. They ruined me. So I'm going to have to be a little black and white because I want you to find love. Are you choosing to be the victim or are you choosing to learn from what took place, move forward, and get closer to finding love? Remember, every relationship has things in it that molds you to be the person that's on the other side of this love. So you have to learn from what happened, become a stronger, wiser, smarter, kinder, caring person to bring that to the love. So this reminds me of a story that was told in I'm Not Your Guru, Tony Robbins, which, by the way, I would say, a hero of mine, just about motivation and people and life and going for it. But the story, why it's so important, is that there was a young lady on the show that was explaining that her father was a lifelong drug addict and she was so upset with him. And Tony Robbins said, "You need to thank that SOB." And she was stunned. And what he said is, yes, he gave you all of the great things you got from him, but he also provided you with a strength that has developed something in you that could have never happened if your dad wasn't a drug addict. So the parallel to that is in your relationships, yes, you've had some bad relationships, but it has developed a strength in you if you're choosing to not be the victim that you can bring forward in your life in so many different ways. So it's easy to blame the last person or the one before them. But until we understand the pattern, we're just changing the faces, not the outcome. So ask yourself, do I choose people who need fixing? Do I fall too fast? Then I feel trapped. Do I avoid saying how I really feel until it explodes? If any of that's true, that's not a relationship problem. That's a you learning problem. And there's no shame in that, just awareness. So getting back to truth, and here's something that changed the game for me. What if your relationships are just a mirror of how you treat yourself? Think about it. If you settle for less, if you don't speak up, if you tolerate disrespect, are you maybe just reflecting what you believe you deserve? It's hard, but healing starts when we stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing ourselves. The person that's in peace, that is living to take care of themselves, will learn to love without losing themselves. Real love shouldn't make you feel like you're disappearing. You don't have to shrink, perform, or constantly prove your worth. A healthy relationship isn't built on fear of losing someone. It's built on freedom to be fully known and still fully loved. But that begins with you loving you enough to say, I'm not chasing anymore. I'm not begging anyone to stay. I'd rather be alone than with someone who makes me feel lonely. Talking through all of this begs the question, I've met somebody. Is this person right for me? How do I actually know? Well, let's get into that. So you've met someone and part of you is excited, but another part of you, maybe the part that's been hurt before, is wondering, is this real? Is this going to fall apart like the others? Or is this finally something different? I've been there. After a string of relationship disasters, I realized something. I never really asked the right questions about them, about me, and how we actually fit together. So today I'm giving you the checklist I wish I had. Not for judging someone, but for truly learning who they are and if they're right for you. You ask yourself this question, can I be with this person? Start here. Not do they like me, but can I fully be myself with them? Do I feel safe saying how I really feel? Do I hold back or shrink myself to keep the peace? Can I laugh, cry, and be honest without fear? Because if you're performing now, you'll feel invisible later. The second qualifier that I think is incredibly important, and this is something that you do need to determine with them before you deeply go forward, is do we handle conflict in a healthy way? Every relationship hits turbulence. What matters is how you both fly through it. Do they shut down, explode, or manipulate? Do you both take responsibility or play the blame game? Can you disagree and still feel connected? The way you fight is just as important as the way you love. The third area is, are your core values aligned? Attraction fades, compatibility sustains. Do we believe in the same things about family, money, faith, ambition, honesty? Do we want the same type of life? Are we headed in the same direction or just enjoying the same stop on the way? You don't have to be identical, but you do have to be compatible. The fourth area is, do you like to be around them? And that's a huge one. Do they bring out your best or your insecurities? Are you becoming stronger, softer, more honest, or more anxious and unsure? Do you feel inspired or drained? Love shouldn't make you lose yourself. It should help you find more of yourself. So here's a little litmus test that I like to do. And the people that I've worked with and talked to, I like to ask them this question, and I give them about 20 seconds to answer. What are 5 things in your love interest partner that are critical attributes that they have? Go. Most people stop right there. They can't answer, they haven't thought about it. So there's no manual for love, but if you go into the pursuit of finding a partner, a lifetime partner, you better be able to answer those questions, if not more. So, does it mean that if they don't check off all 5 boxes, they're not suitable? It doesn't. But it sure would be much better if they did. Are they kind, caring, funny? Are they resourceful? Are they supportive? Those are questions that you need to answer, and it adds the clarity when we're looking for somebody. So the next thing is, and I used an operative word there, clarity. So I'm going to make this suggestion and I'm going to get some eye rolls. I'm going to get, are you nuts? I'm not doing that. But I really suggest, at least for the first 3.5 months or more, keep physical intimacy out of it. And I'm talking sex, I'm talking jumping in the rack. And the reason is because if you're trying to find that lifelong love, you have just thrown an element into the mix that is just going to turn the flame up 100%. You're no longer thinking straight. That physical intimacy at times brings a lot of us to that place of, oh my goodness, I'm in love. This is incredible. He or she is the one I'm looking for. And we're no longer actually looking at the person that we're looking to see if this is a lifelong love. And I know it feels like the greatest thing ever, but what we've actually done is we've delayed the process. We've pushed things down the road until the honeymoon is over. Then we start seeing the real person. The second thing that we do in this area is we are treated how we teach people to treat us. So right out of the gate, there has to be a mutual understanding of respect and learning. And you want that person to make sure that you're the right person for them as well. You definitely want to determine the motivation of this other person as well, because there's so many people that I've worked with that they dive in, sex is in there, everything's in there, and then it doesn't work out. And then they tell the story of, well, they just used me. And it's like, no, they may have, but let's not neglect our part in things that we dove in too fast. We provided that opportunity for them to use us because instead of qualifying who they are, we said, oh my God, I hope they love me. I hope they care about me. I hope this works out. What we commonly refer to is a crapshoot. Now that we've worked our way through all of that, then you have to ask the final question. Are we both ready, not just interested? Timing matters. You can meet the right kind of person at the wrong time. What do I mean by the wrong time? Are they emotionally available or still stuck in their past? Are they working on their growth or waiting for someone to save them? Are you truly open to love or just tired of being alone? Wanting a relationship isn't the same as being ready for one. I know this process can be a confusing one. It can be intimidating, scary, but if we go forward with awareness, and remember, awareness is power. So don't confuse chemistry with compatibility. Don't confuse attention with intention. And please, don't confuse excitement with peace. Remember, love that lasts feels calm, clear, and consistent. So when you meet someone new, don't just ask, Do I like them? Do they like me? Ask, do we fit? Do we build on each other? Are we choosing each other every day? That's how you know, not by magic, but by meaning. So if you've been asking, why are my relationships always a disaster? Maybe it's time to stop looking out there and start looking in here to your heart. Not to blame yourself, but to finally set yourself free. Because when you become the love you've been searching for, you'll stop settling for anything less. In fact, you'll be so attractive when you find that peace in yourself, people won't be able to keep their hands off you, so to speak. They'll want to be around you, they'll want to be near you. As always, this is Jeff with Jeff's Changes for Life, and today's going to rock because we are reconstructing, relearning, and revamping how we look for love. Stay tuned for the next installment of this series on love. And the question is, are you ready to be the partner you're looking for?